Hey everybody, and welcome back to the vlog. My name is Tony Vargas, and thank you so much for spending some time to check up on me. It's been a real hectic few months. Have had a lot of projects, but it's nice to start doing some kind of videos. And I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. As I'm driving around doing some errands, I got a notification on YouTube that a hater wanted to write some ugly comments on one of my videos. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let me go ahead and let me show you a video that I recently did about how the border wall was not secured. Now, go ahead and catch up with me. Go ahead and go to youtube.com, and in that search engine put proof the border wall is not secured. You scroll down a little bit, you're going to see my face right there. It was my first vlog. It was actually pretty good. Got a lot of hits, got a lot of views, got some pretty good feedback. But this particular person here, who has a very creative name of ValleyStyle956, had this to write. He says, "What the F are you saying? ? Up to your standards? Who are you? You really think you're 100% American? Don't forget your roots. Maybe you have never been out of the valley or the state. If you ever get the chance to travel the US as much as I have, you'll meet a lot of racist people that make you realize just how Mexican you really are. Stop trying to be white. MFer, you're Mexican, like it or not. Your skin color, last name, and accent should remind you of that. Unless your mom was white and got raped by a Mexican and then shitted you out, then you have no reason to hate on your own race." Well, guess what? You asked me a lot of questions, and I'm going to respond to every single one of them, Mr. ValleyStyle956. Now, one of the comments you had was, "Don't forget your roots." Well, guess what? I made a very, very extensive family tree. Right here, you can see this is where I'm at. Over here, my parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents. Let me click right here. This right here is Porfirio Castillo. Porfirio Castillo is my great-great-grandfather, born September 15th, 1878 in San Luis Potosí, Mexico. But what's even more interesting is, look, let me click right here. Border crossing in 1903. 1903 to 1957, every time he came across from San Luis Potosí to the United States, he had to register. How about that? Now tell me, ValleyStyle956, if my great-grandfather back in the early 1900s was able to come over from Mexico to the United States fine and legally by just simply registering, why can't that be done right now? Why is some technology that's over 1,000 years old still can't be done today? Now, before you respond with your intellectual answer that you probably got listening to a YouTube or Facebook lawyer, let me go and answer your questions. Yes, I have been out of the valley. Matter of fact, I was in Vegas a few years ago. After Vegas, I moved to California, where I served as a United States Marine. How's that for being American? I lived in New Mexico. After coming back to the valley, I traveled a lot. Went to Louisiana recently. Went to Peru, where I went to Machu Picchu. I even went to Mexico City and got on those nice boats. Now, Mr. ValleyStyle956, I know you actually did your comment on my post here a few weeks ago. I'm sorry I didn't respond to you as fast as I could. You see, my wife and I, we were busy vacationing in Ireland. This right here is the Cliffs of Moher. Now, people in Ireland, they're pretty white and they have orange hair. Very different than my skin. But you know what? They didn't treat me any different here at all. Matter of fact, they welcomed us with Guinness beer. Oh, and one more thing. You talk about how everybody's racist to us when we go out of here. Here in Peru, they gave us a parade when we left. They were so happy to meet us, so happy to see us, so happy to learn from us. They gave us a parade. So, nope, I wasn't reminded on how Mexican I was on this trip a couple years ago. Pretty cool there. You go and make sure you take a beanie. Anyways, let me bring it back and let me speak more vehicle to you. You know, when I read your comment, I had a particular scene run through my head. It's a scene from Selena. I'm sure you probably saw it. If not, here's a clip.
Listen, being Mexican American is tough. Anglos, jump all over you if you don't speak English perfectly. Mexicans jump all over you if you don't speak Spanish perfectly. We got to be twice as perfect as anybody else. Why are you laughing? What's so funny?
Nothing.
I'm serious. Our family has been here for centuries, and yet they treat us as if we just swam across the Rio Grande. I mean, we got to know about John Wayne and Pedro Infante. We got to know about Frank Sinatra and Agustin Lara. We got to know about Oprah and Christina. Anglo food is too bland, and yet when we go to Mexico, we get the runs. Now that, to me, is embarrassing.
No, Dad!
Japanese Americans, Italian Americans, German Americans, their homeland is on the other side of the ocean. Ours is right next door, right over there. And we gotta prove to the Mexicans how Mexican we are, and we gotta prove to the Americans how American we are. We gotta be more Mexican than the Mexicans, and more American than the Americans, both at the same time. It's exhausting. Man, nobody knows how tough it is to be a Mexican American.
Now, I know you're probably offended that there's this border wall debate that's going on in the nation. But guess what? Mexico has a border wall. And I'm not talking about the one on the north side. I'm talking about the one on the south side. Check out what I mean.
At the top of our newscast tonight, President Donald Trump ran on a long list of issues during the campaign. One of them was the border wall. Analysts with an Austin-based intelligence group says the wall may happen, just not on the U.S.-Mexico border. Channel 5's Carolina Cruz joins us with more.
A more justifiable economic option. That's how Stratford Latin American analyst Reggie Thompson describes an alternative policy option. He says extra security or even a wall on the border between Mexico and Guatemala is a possibility for President Trump's border plan. Increased security on Mexico's southern border with Guatemala is a persistent feature of Mexican and U.S. efforts. It helps with the flow of migrants. The most recent joint effort between the U.S. and Mexico took place 2 years ago. Additional security was implemented on the Mexico-Guatemala border to aid with the overwhelming number of unaccompanied minors making their way north. Thompson cites a Mexican news source, La Politica Online, to say a border between Mexico and Guatemala is an alternative policy plan.
This is another option that is potentially something that we could start seeing coming out, particularly because it could potentially turn into just a strengthening of efforts that Mexico and the United States are already carrying out on that part of the border.
President Donald Trump and Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto are expected to meet later this month. Thompson says the main focus for that meeting will likely be NAFTA and immigration. Stratford analyst Thompson adds that he wouldn't be surprised if a border on the southern part of Mexico is a topic of discussion at that meeting. In the studio, Carolina Cruz, Channel 5 News at 6.
Now let me continue on with my geographical educational class for you today, Mr. Valley Style 956. Mexico is not the only place that has a border wall. So does Peru and Ecuador. Here's a clip.
It's just over a mile long and ranges in height from 1 to 4 meters. There's no barbed wire or border guards. But this wall, which Ecuador was building on its frontier with Peru, has prompted a fierce diplomatic row. The construction began in March, and it was nearing completion when Ecuador halted work, after Peru withdrew its ambassador.
I'll go ahead and cut it short there. I know your attention span is probably a little bit limited. Don't want to overstimulate you there, Valley Finance, whatever you are. But you know what? Border walls are not just to separate races and not just to separate nations. They're also used to separate religions. Matter of fact, in Belfast, Northern Ireland, in the UK, that's what they have. And yes, here's a clip so you can be a visual learner. So once again, this is footage from Belfast, Northern Ireland, which is in the UK. Now these are called peace lines or peace walls, and they're a series of separation barriers. And what they do, they separate the Protestants and the Catholics there in that area. These peace lines are a few hundred yards, about 3 miles or 5K. They're made of iron, brick, steel. They're 25 feet high. There are gates. The gates there are guarded by military and by police, and they close at a certain time. Matter of fact, when we were there, we had to leave by 6 p.m. or we'd be on the wrong side of the wall. So you see, border walls are not just about race. It's not about being white, black, think you're American, think you're Mexican, about your accent, and all this other BS stuff that you came up with. Walls are there for a division, and they're there for a purpose. Just because there's a wall there, and just because someone supports the wall, or in my case, in my vlog, points out that they're unsecure, like how it says so in the title, does not mean I'm a hater of my own people. I love all people. That is why I travel around the world, and that's why I talk to everybody. So in closing, Mr. Valley Style 956, no, I do not hate my own race. I love my own race. I love people from all over the world, whether they're from the United States, Mexico, Peru, Ireland, the United States Kingdom. Matter of fact, I married someone from Mexico. She's a very, very beautiful and lovely lady. But there's no reason for you to accuse me of being a hater just because I make a YouTube video proving that the border wall is not secured. That's all that it was. In fact, that's the title of that vlog. The border was not secure. Does that mean I have anything against Mexicans? No, not at all. But you know what? Just like my great-great-grandfather, when you come across, sign the piece of paper, go through customs. I do it all the time. No big deal. Why can't they? Anyways, you have yourself a good day, sir. Appreciate your comments and wish you all the best.